Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to be talking about 5 empowering actions, 5 ideas for musicians in troubled times. I'm Jennifer Roig-Francolí, creator of The Art of Freedom. And if we haven't met yet, you probably don't know that I'm a professional musician as well as a certified Alexander Technique teacher. I also host the Facebook group called Musicians Mind Body Practice Tribe, and I invite you to check that out because it's a very supportive environment that could also give you extra tips and ideas in these troubled times. So today's live video, I do this every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern, and I had planned a topic based on pain. And I've decided to postpone that topic, and yet the topic I've chosen for today is very much related because these times are painful in sometimes physical ways for some people and definitely emotionally for quite a few people around the world. And as a musician and a person who helps musicians in many ways, I felt that it was really important for me to come online today publicly and just say, hey, if you are suffering in any way or impacted in any way by the coronavirus that we are going through right now, it was just declared a pandemic yesterday. So if you're watching this next year, this probably, the specifics don't apply, but I'm going to be talking in very general terms about troubling times, and so it doesn't matter when you're watching this video, I think you'll find these 5 action proposals to be very useful. So, but it is right now, we are in the midst of this pandemic, and there are very few people, I believe, that are not being affected in some way or other by what's going on. And I have many musician friends, professionals, amateurs, people in my Facebook group, people on in my friends list on Facebook, colleagues, people in my musical circles that are having performances canceled. They are worried about teaching in person. I have a lot of people who are teaching at the university and college level, sometimes even high school, who are no longer allowed to teach their classes and are being instructed to go online and teach their students online. And thank goodness we do have the technology for this now. I mean, here I am. And I actually have been teaching exclusively online for the last 2 years, and I've been teaching online a lot since 2012. So it's been quite a long time. I'm pretty experienced with how to do this. And so I just wanted to say, if anybody out there, trying to rearrange myself more comfortably, if anybody out there is struggling and really worried or concerned and wants to have more skills, wants to learn how to move their musical teaching or their any kind of practice or business or something that they need to learn skills, because I mean, you can just turn on the video, but there are, depending on what you're teaching, there are, a number of skills that are going to help you do it with more ease and more effectively if you want to teach online. So that's actually not even what I was going to talk about today. It just sort of came up because a lot of people have been teaching or asking me, Jennifer, can you help me figure out how to do this? And actually my ex-husband is an example. He teaches at the Cincinnati College Conservatory of Music, CCM, where I used to teach, and my son goes to school there, and they are moving all classes, recitals, everything. Oh, actually I'm not sure they're doing recitals online, but they've canceled performances, and all teachers are going to have to teach online now. And so they have to learn quick, and it's really not that hard, but there are certain skills that you could benefit from learning. So, but putting aside the online shift, which by the way, if you teach music lessons, that's going to be so useful for you if you can teach online. Ask me about it if you need help, okay? I'm making this video because I know how to do this and I would like to help. I also have so many performer friends who are going to be struggling and suffering from this because their concerts, their performances are being canceled. This is the time to get innovative, okay? So I'm not going to talk more about that, but please message me, just ask me and I will help if you need to know about this. In fact, my partner and I, Mia Morales and I, are actually planning this weekend, just out of the blue, we decided let's help the Alexander teachers of the world, and we're going to give free workshops this weekend for any Alexander teachers who want help, learning more about how to teach online. So we're here to help, and anyway, you can contact me about that. But now let me give you these 5 empowering actions that are going to help you, anybody, no matter what you do, whether you're an educator or you play in an orchestra or you're professional or amateur, whoever you are as a musician, or anybody, even a not musician really, whoever you are, whatever your circumstance is, we all go through troubled times. We encounter uncertainty at different levels in our lives, sometimes lots of uncertainty, and sometimes it's not really a big deal. Nothing's ever completely certain, but in these times, it's much more obvious how uncertain things are. So here are these 5 tips, and I'm just seeing that some comments are coming in, and I want to invite you please to interact here and tell me what you're going through. And I'm just seeing Barb says, I just canceled a lesson for tomorrow because I have a head cold. That's the other thing. Even if you have a simple head cold, and I trust that's what it is, Barb, even if you just have a little, an allergy, you don't really know. And so it's best to minimize contact and follow the professional scientific recommendations that we're getting on what to do about this coronavirus to prevent the spread of it. So minimizing contact is really smart. And hello Julio and Angel, I see that you're here. Hey, thanks for joining me. Okay, here are my 5 tips. They're not even, tips seems like really small. These are not tips. These are empowering actions. They are the key. I feel so strongly about this. This is a pandemic of world proportions that's infecting everybody on the planet, but there's nothing we can do about it on that huge level directly, but there is something that each of us individually can do. And it doesn't matter whether it's the coronavirus or whatever the troubling times are that you're going through, your key is to start with you, taking care of you. And it's not just about hand washing and not touching your face, okay? It's about your mindset. Above all, because everything we think affects the body, it affects how we relate to other people, it affects our choices, it affects our mood, and I'm telling you, your mood influences your immune system. Okay, if you want to have a strong immune system, you'd better have a strong mind. And that's not so far-fetched. There's a ton of research, even like on the placebo effect that's out there. What you think is what you get. I'm not going to go into the research, but it's there. It's all over the place. We all know, it's a fact that when you think in a positive, optimistic way, you stave off disease much more easily. So you must, in troubled times, pay attention to your mindset. Okay, so that's the context I'm going to put this into. Now, the 5 steps. First step, you must notice. Get curious. Get curious about yourself. Forget about the world and coronavirus. Pay attention to you, okay? Notice what you're thinking right now. And I mean right now as you're watching this. Practice with me right now. What are you noticing? Put it in the comments. Tell us, what are you noticing? What are you thinking first? What are your thoughts? Where do they tend to go? Do you tend to go into worry and nervousness and anxiety and thinking about your finances and worrying about how the money is slipping down because of the stock market, or because you're not getting reimbursed for a flight that you've already had to purchase to go play a concert. Somebody just posted that yesterday. Delta is not refunding the money that she put out to go to a concert performance that she was contracted for, which is now canceled. It's not going to be reimbursed, and she's not going to make the money for that. It's a serious issue. But where does your mind go? Does it go into worry, and does it spin out of control? If it does, you must notice that. That's the first step. Catch yourself by getting curious about how you're thinking. Step number 1. And actually, part of that notice step, you want to notice your thoughts. You also want to notice your emotions, how you're feeling about it. How do you feel in your body? Again, type in the comments here. It is so beneficial for us to have community. I can't stress that enough, especially when people are being isolated like they are today in this time, where people are running to the grocery stores and grabbing food so that they can hunker down in their homes, which is actually not a bad idea. But what does it do to your emotions? What does it do to your stress level? Is that going to help you stave off illness if you get all stressed? No, no, no. Stress is not healthy. So you have to, first of all, notice how you're feeling. If you're feeling stressed in your mind, your body, your emotions, how's your soul? How's your spiritual life? These are important things. Ask yourself the question, get curious, notice what you notice. The step number 1 is asking yourself, what do I notice about myself right now? Not yesterday, not 5 minutes ago, right now. Okay, got it? That's step number 1. Number 2, whatever you're feeling, thinking, or whatever you're feeling in your body, in your emotions, or thinking in your mind, it's just a fact. No self-judgment, okay? Let's make a deal right now. No self-judgment about how you feel. Being scared, anxious, nervous, worried, those are natural human emotions. Being angry at people in authority, power positions who may not be doing what you think they should be doing. Notice that. That's natural, okay? But don't judge yourself for having negative thoughts or feelings or emotions. Just accept. So that's step number 2. Accept who you are right now, how you're thinking, how you're feeling, your whole self. Accept. It's just a fact. There's no moral judgment. Don't go there. It's not helpful. It'll just make you feel worse. Okay? It's so important. If you want to stay healthy, you have to take care of this whole self, not just your body, but this, even more important than your body, because this regulates what's going on in your body. Okay? So that's number 2. Tip number 2, empowering action number 2, is give yourself the freedom to accept who you are and how you are right now. It's just a fact, no judgment. Hope this is helpful. I think this is being of interest to whoever's watching. And again, I really would love to get your feedback. Tell me how you're feeling, how you're thinking, and we can interact in this way. And you can also, if you're watching the replay, your comments are just as important. So please just type it in or just say hi. I love to know who's out there. Okay, on to step number 3. Now this one, my students that I've been working with already know what this is. And if you're a member of the Musician's Mind Body Practice Tribe, you know what this is. If you are new to my work, I invite you and strongly recommend that you go to my YouTube channel, and perhaps somebody who knows me who can find this easily could post the link right now. Maybe Angel, you're so lovely. You do that for me so often. It would be so nice if you could post the link to my newer cycle video for people. Because in that cycle video, I teach you a very, very, very important skill called constructive thinking. Constructive thinking comes from the Alexander technique, and the 2-minute etude that I teach in this YouTube video comes from Primal Alexander, which is a hands-free method of teaching the Alexander technique, which I teach and which was developed by Mio Morales, my partner. And we teach the cycle to everybody. It's out there, it's public, it's for everybody. And what you're doing in the cycle is you're noticing and you're paying attention to linking up how you're thinking with your body. And you're putting it into the context of ease. That's really important. And that leads me into step number 4. And by the way, Angel, thank you so much. Thank you for posting that link for everybody. I really appreciate that. So before I go on to number 4, just to recap, step number 3 is to do some constructive thinking in a very specific way. If you don't want to go over to the YouTube video right now, you can save it for later. Angel just posted the link. But what you can do right now is you can ask yourself with a very light-hearted, uplifting kind of energy, and Mio makes it a question, I make it a question. You're going to ask this question because, you know, when you ask a question, it sort of goes up. Even your voice goes up when you ask a question. So when you do your constructive thinking, I highly, strongly recommend that you ask this specific question. Write it down and don't change the words. There are good reasons for each and every word in this question. This magic constructive question is, where else do I seem a bit easy right now? Okay? You don't have to add the right now, but that's the gist of it. And you've got to ask it in a way that is light, and you throw the question up and out there, and don't answer the question. Don't try to feel anything in your body. You're just kind of curious, but don't really care. You just toss the question out there. Where else do I seem a bit easy? Okay? But I'm not going to go further into depth with that right now because you can go learn all of that and how to do it in that cycle video that Angel just posted the link to. So do that. And then also we practice this every Sunday evening, and actually I've decided I'm going to do it more often in the Musician's Mind Body Practice Tribe because it is such a very, very, very helpful 2-minute practice that helps you relieve stress and anxiety, and that is going to be very important for you as a musician as you're impacted by troubled times like what we're living through right now. Okay, so number 4, actually before I give you number 4 out of the 5 actions, I want to check over the comments I'm seeing. Julio says, yep, that is my favorite state of mind lately. The state of mind, I assume what you mean is when you do the cycle. So, and Julio says, acceptance of myself and my circumstances. Very powerful. Yes, right. The state of mind of acceptance of self in the present moment is golden. And that is what is going to keep you balanced and centered and not spinning out into all kinds of negativity, which is actually, it's bad for your immune system. It's a fact. Okay, I'm not making this up, and this is not woo-woo stuff. This is real. It's true. It's scientific. It's researched. How you approach what's happening in your life with your mindset influences the state of your body. So thank you, Julio, for saying that. Acceptance of self and circumstances, it's golden, okay? So that's number 3. You do some constructive thinking. Actually, number 2 was acceptance, and then number 3, you do your constructive thinking, okay? Moving on, number 4, this is the 4th action that you want to take, is to, once you've done your constructive thinking, okay, let's say you've just completed the 2 minutes of the cycle Primal Alexander etude. And I guarantee if you do the cycle and you do it the way I teach, you're going to feel a little or a lot better in mind, body, spirit, your whole self. So do the cycle, and even if you don't have time and you just ask that constructive question once, your whole system is going to ease up just a little bit. Once you've done that, you're in a better position to choose your response to how you're feeling and to your circumstances. Okay, so this is where you need to have clarity about what you want. Okay? So if you like feeling stressed and anxious and nervous and worried, go for it. Keep thinking the way you've been thinking. Nobody's going to stop you. Nobody can stop you, even if I wish I could stop you, but I can't. I don't have that kind of control over anybody, and I'm happy if I have control over myself when I have negative thinking. So we each have our own individual responsibility for ourselves, and nobody else can do our thinking for us. I can make suggestions for you, but what you think is up to you. So you need to be clear about what you want. If you don't like the results you're getting and how you feel in your body these days because you're afraid and feeling tight, then think differently. Okay? Do your constructive thinking and choose. How do you want to respond to this situation? All right, I woke up this morning and found out coronavirus was declared a big pandemic, and flights from Europe have been canceled, and it's pretty big. Well, it was early in the morning, and very often when you wake up after being unconscious for hours, you're not thinking at your best. So I just reacted and got scared, as I think a lot of people do when they wake up in the morning these days and things are changing and it's so uncertain. You might have a stress response. Well, that's what I had this morning. But then I had to get really clear with myself. Do I want to go through my day like that? Is that helpful for me or anybody else? Well, the answer was really quick and really clear. No, I don't want that. So then, well, what do I want instead? And that's where each of us has to be accountable to ourselves. You have to know what you want, because if you just go on autopilot, your chaotic, distracted, negative thinking is going to take over if that's your tendency. Not everybody's like that. There are a lot of optimistic, happy people no matter the circumstances. But most of us have some tendencies to negative thinking, worry, fear, anxiety, especially in situations like this where you can't control the situation. You just can't. It's not like we can get rid of all the little germs out there. I wish we could. But anyway, you got to choose your ideal self. Like, who do you want to be? How do you want to show up? And that brings me to number 5. Because for me, my firm belief and my experience, my whole life has shown me, taught me, I have lived it, I've made this choice over and over and over and over and over again. Of course, I've also strayed and gotten off course over and over and over again, but I know what I want. I know what I believe in, and I have faith that being my true self is the solution for me. Okay, and what I mean by that is knowing myself, being me, my whole integrated self as much as I possibly can. And I believe that at the core of each human being is something so strong that no fear can touch it. And that something is love. So maybe cliche, but I couldn't care less because it's true. All you need is love. But you don't have to do love. And that's where my take on love is maybe a little different than a lot of other ideas about love. I believe that we just are love, that we're made of that. And what I mean by that is that there's a radiating energy. There's a goodness at the core of every single human being on the planet. That's my belief. I firmly believe that. And so I believe that we are fundamentally good, and then we cover it up by thinking in ways that interfere with that natural radiation of goodness. And what my job is, and what I share with my students, and what I'm sharing with you right now, is that our job is to recognize that we're getting in the way and blocking that radiation of love, goodness, light, whatever you want to call it. Recognize it, and then do whatever we can to stop blocking that natural being that radiates. Okay, so it's not really something we have to do to express love. We just have to stop doing what gets in the way. And then We are made to grow and shine and express, and musicians, I think we kind of know that intuitively or naturally, and we love to do that through our music. So we can do that when we're not blocking that natural energy, that natural flow that tends to express who we are. So let me recap and put into a nutshell what these 5 empowering actions are that are incredibly helpful for us individually, and by extension, when you're doing this for yourself and you get to step number 5 and you're allowing goodness and love to radiate, you're going to get ideas for how to do this, and then you just act on them. Okay, so I wasn't going to do this topic today, but I just had this gut feeling that I need to talk about coronavirus today, and musicians are suffering, and I'm here with some knowledge that many people, hundreds of musicians, I don't know, maybe thousands at this point, have found useful, so it's my job to share it with you. That's why I'm doing this video today, okay? So the 5 steps that I shared today: 1, notice what's going on with you right now. Ask yourself, what do I notice? What am I thinking? What am I feeling in my body? What are my emotions? How am I reacting? That's number 1. Once you notice and you're present to your experience, then you can accept that you're free to be that way. No judgment, no moral judgment, no trying to change who you are or how you feel. Don't even go there. Just think, I am free to be me the way I am right now, and it's okay. It's natural. This is just me having my experience of being me in this world right now. That's number 2. Number 3, you do some constructive thinking. And this, again, is something very specific that you do with your mind and body. And you can learn how to do this with that video that I linked, or that Angel linked to. It's the cycle that teaches you how to do that. It's a 2-minute etude. By the way, for musicians, it's the best warm-up you'll ever learn. And if you just want to do it in an instant, you just ask yourself this magical constructive question: where else do I seem a bit easy? In the manner that I taught you earlier. Then step number 4, choose your response. Choose who you want to be and how you want to show up. Choose how you'd rather feel. If you're feeling really bad and tight and worried and nervous and scared, and you don't want that, well then choose how you want to be instead. Who do you want to show up as? Who is your ideal self? It doesn't mean you can be that instantly, but you have to have that idea in mind. How do you want to show up? And choose. Then step number 5, be yourself and do whatever you can to not do the rest of it and just be love. Just be love, because that radiates naturally. And you can take action on that. Give to somebody, show up for somebody, come out of yourself and help someone else who needs help. That is, I think, the best solution, the best self-help is to first help yourself, and then once you've helped yourself, take that energy that you have, that you're cultivating by really taking care of yourself, take that energy and send it out for others. Okay? So those are my 5 empowering actions for musicians in troubled times. Please, please share this widely, and share it with non-musicians. It's really for humanity right now. I feel so strongly we need to take care of ourselves individually. You can't expect anybody else to take care of you. You can't expect your government to take care of you. You can't even expect your neighbors to take care of you. So you've got to start with your mindset, take care of yourself, and then do what you can to take care of others around you. All right, that's what I've got for you today. I'm just going to check over into the comments again. Angel says, I'm doing a mini cycle every time I wash my hands. Ooh, I love that, Angel. We have to wash our hands so much now when we go out. I think it's really wise to do your constructive thinking in activity. That is fantastic. She continues to say, I'm counting from 1 to 10 and doing my constructive thinking each time. Fantastic. It helps keep me centered and is a great way to make sure you're washing and lathering for 20 seconds. That's a great idea, Angel. If you have to wash your hands, you might as well use that action, that time to bring yourself back to what's really important and take care of your mind, body, self while you're at it. Don't just wash your hands, wash your mind. Well, that's another good idea. When you're washing your hands, don't just wash your hands. Wash your whole self. Be aware that you're washing your mind and you're washing your body, and you're going to stay healthier that way. I promise. There's no way you couldn't be healthier if you're cleaning up your mindset. It's a no-brainer. No pun intended. Thank you for that great tip, Angel. And yes, exactly what I thought. That is really great. Okay, so thank you everybody so much for being here, and I will be with you again. Come join the Musicians Mind Body Practice Tribe if you're not a member yet. This is the group where we talk about everything related to music making. It's a very supportive, warm-hearted, positive group. There is no negativity in my group. I don't know why, but I put out the good energy and it comes back, and I feel very blessed because of that. And so I'm here to help, whether you're in my group or not. You can always private message me, ask me if you want to learn more about anything that I've talked about, if you need more support, if you just want to share your experience. I would love it if you would share your experience in my Facebook group or message me. I just posted on my timeline a question about how coronavirus is affecting musicians. Share your story on my timeline. It's public and open to everybody, or share it on that post in the Musicians Mind Body Practice Tribe. I would love to have this conversation going and develop a really proactive, positive attitude. We cannot let fear take over, so we have to be actively ourselves, our loving selves, and then we don't have anything to fear when we are in love. Okay, so thanks again for being here. Sending you my best wishes and lots of love, and wishes for calm and peace of mind and healthy body and spirit. All my best. Bye-bye.